All right. Well, I am on the countdown. Well, it is actually 8 p.m., so it is time for me to continue. So, this is Lady Lee Davis, and I'd like to welcome you to another series of Lady Lee Speaks. And I'm speaking on the topic of how to get it together for 2018. Now, some of you were with me last week, and I'm going to wait a couple of ticks here since we are just going on to see who else has joined us. So I'm looking forward to another good evening. Thank you all so much for your support that we did on the 26th of November. That was a great showing, and I appreciate all the love and support. So at this time, I'm going to continue to wait for a few minutes. You know, this weather has been something else here in Atlanta, Georgia. For those of you that are joining from other parts, Atlanta, Georgia, we have had some weather for you. I call it our bipolar season. It's going to be snowing and rain, and then the sun will be out, and then you just never know what's going to happen next. So we will do what we do, and we deal with it as we go, because that's what we do. So, family, again, my name is Lady Lee Davis. Thank you all so much. I see some are joining us now. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for continuing on with me. I appreciate it so very much. And we're going to be getting more into the calendar. So for those of you that were not with me the last go round, we were working on our annual calendar, and I want to do a quick review of that as we're waiting for some to chime in. And if this is your first time joining, welcome, welcome, welcome. I appreciate you so much. So I will go ahead and continue on because we are 2 minutes in. So last week we touched on, or 2 weeks ago, we touched on how much we have going on in our life and how we need to work on getting it together for 2018. And we all have things that go on in our life. I mean, it's just a part of life. So the thing that we have to do is to get it together and know what our priorities are and how to create a calendar that dictates that for us is what my goal is and what I've been doing for the last 5 years or so to help me in doing that. So last week we talked about the different areas of the first thing was we were working on the 2018 calendar, and we were supposed to print out a 12-month calendar. And for those of you that are on this week too, it kind of looks like this here. Okay. And we were to bubble in based on our priorities in life. And we did that basically looking at spirituality, our immediate family, our health, our finances, and social and extended family. So that's what we were doing last week and getting an annual calendar so we can look at how we're spending time in our life as a whole within a 12-month period. Okay. So now that we have that visual and annual calendar, we're going to chunk it into monthly. Okay. So if you did not get a chance to do that, don't worry. It's an ongoing process. It's something that you will continue to do on and on and on. Okay. So when we looked at that, we talked about this whole building process. So the annual calendar, again, this is going to give us a foundation. And that foundation is a visual foundation for us to have a strong hold on what's happening over the next 12 months. Okay. So when we break that down to our monthly, weekly, and daily goals and activities, this annual calendar, of course, it's going to be different for everyone because everyone's desires, goals, and things in life are different. And that's the way it should be. It would be a dull world if we were all working towards and doing the same things and had the same goals of everything, correct? So that is not what we're doing. Thank you all so much. Welcome, welcome, guys. So as we continue on, let's talk about this for a minute. So Our desire and our goals and our priorities being different. So let's talk about that for a minute. So when you were building your calendar and you were working on this over the last couple of weeks, were you building your calendar based on your own desires or someone else's? That's important. Are you setting goals for yourself, or are you allowing someone else to set those goals for you? And we can do this unconsciously as well. Um, and are your priorities really your priorities, or have you allowed others to intervene in your life to create priorities for you? And one thing about it is, if you do not have priorities, someone else will create some for you. So I strongly recommend that you create your own priorities, because those are the ones that you're going to live by more so than anything else. And they're the ones that are going to motivate you to do the things that you know that you need to do, because they're your goals, your desires, and your priorities. So these are all very good questions. And you're the only one that can answer these questions. And they are deep rooted questions. And there again, I will promote again my book on how to love stress and live longer. And it will help you to dig into that. How to Love Stress and Live Longer, Empower Your Life for an Enjoyable Journey by Lady Lee Davis. And again, you can order that on ordermybook.eventbrite.com as to get a copy of that. But in that, I go into more of how to get to that root of making sure that you are following your own pattern in life and the things that you want out of life. And that's important. It's very, very important. So we focused on 5 areas that we were prioritizing. Again, spirituality, our immediate family, our health, financial, and social and extended family. Okay, that's where we're going to focus on again, even right now. So, how does your colored calendar look so far? I would really like to know, how is it looking? Is it coming together where you see that you may need to improve in some other areas and having more balance? Or does it look okay? This is definitely going to give you that view of that when you do the calendar that way. And when I did mine, I found that I was all over the place. And there were a lot of areas that were important to me that were missing. And I was trying to understand why. And I was able to come to grips with that. I was able to make those adjustments and get them on here. And, the thing about doing that, too, is we're all a work in progress, because remember, there's no standing still. We're always moving. We're always growing. And I want to do a little bit of, let's do a little bit of planning to go down from the annual. We got the annual, so we can visualize that. And that's something we're going to work on a continuous basis. Remember, like I said, I started doing this, and it's been up to about 5 years now, and it's been a step-by-step process, even once you get it going. So don't be intimidated by any of the information or the things that I'm going to show you here in a little bit, because it's a lot simpler than what it seems, okay? So how much time, we're going to take the family, since the family is something we're very connected to, especially in our own households. The family unit is something that we're well connected to. It has a great impact on the things that we do, how we operate from day to day. So let's take that and use it for an example for how we're going to take our annual calendar, and we're going to move it over to a digital calendar, okay? So the first thing is we're going to take the family. So I want to ask a question. When it comes to and now we're speaking immediate family first, okay, within your household, your immediate family. And what kind of activities do you like to do with your family, okay? If you have a large family, and say you have children as well, boys and girls, or a mixture of the two, or whatever, are you wanting to spend one-on-one time with each family member? Are you wanting to spend time with everyone at one time? Whatever the case may be, those are the things that you would begin to decide on and to create and do for yourself. So for an example, for my household is hubby and I. So we do a monthly event where we have a date night on a monthly basis, and then we have a weekly one as well, since it's, the two of us. So, but we'll do something a little bit differently on our monthly event than we do on our weekly event. And we tweak it as we go, as far as what we want to take away, what we want to add to it. But that time is allotted for that. And one thing I would say to couples too is you got to spend quality time together. Don't take life for granted. We know that we cannot do that. And if your family is important to you, and I say that out of all sincerity, if your family is important to you, schedule that time. We talked about the octopus on roller skates with the whirl of activity and actually getting nowhere at all. We can look up and life can be different all of a sudden. So we want to make sure that we are allotting that time for our loved ones and our family. And if you just want to do something once a month, once every couple of months, whatever the situation is for you, for your priorities and your goals, that's what you do. Because there again, that's why I said this is going to be different for everyone. Okay. So what kind of activities are you going to be doing? So if you know you're going to be planning some family time, subconsciously, you will begin to look for things that you want to do because you've raised a level of interest in it and you're looking to put it on a calendar, and your subconscious mind is going to start seeking things that's going to assist you automatically. So it's like the awareness has to be there first, and then it'll start the process of doing it, the rest of it itself. Then what you want to do is get it scheduled. Get it scheduled, get their buy-in. So for an example, when I started doing mine and I put it the calendar for a date night with my husband, I picked the first Saturday of the month. So I went to my husband, got his buy-in to see if that was okay with him, that we picked that time, and to also ask for suggestions of things that he would like to do, as well as the things that I would like to do. And even things like, even though we were doing it monthly, to say on the 6th month, we want to do something a little bit bigger, whatever the case may be. But you have to get buy-in so that, one, people know that you're important to them, and two, you're taking the time to create an environment for memories. Remember, I can't tell you enough about memories. And when my daughter was living, we had our own date night as well. I had time with her that we would schedule and do different things together. And to this day, I can reflect back on so many memories for her, from her. And, sometimes it does bring tears to my eyes. And sometimes it makes me laugh, it makes me cry. But I don't have to say I regret not spending time. You have to spend time with those that you love. The world that we're living in is going by so fast. And, time goes by very, very fast. But we have to take the time to do what's important, okay? And don't take it for granted, okay? So we want to get their buy-in, and then we're going to turn around and lock it in. Now, once we get that buy-in and we're locking it in, let's talk about the digital calendar. Now, the digital calendar is something that I talk about because technology has become our best friend when it comes to planning. We have alarm clocks. So you remember we used to have just one alarm clock. And if we wanted to set it to go off again, I think we could snooze maybe once. Then you had to reset it, and you had to just go through so many different things. And now with our smartphones, we can set unlimited alarms seems like, I mean, I haven't run out of being able to set the ones I put on my phone to relieve my mind of other things. So I'm saying that with the digital calendar is because you can set your dates on your calendar. We're going to take it from the paper that we have for our visual, and now we're going to put it in the palm of our hands, in our iPads, in our phones. If you use a desktop calendar, whatever you want to do. Now, my thing with the desktop calendar, I have nothing against that. However, I cannot set that to remind me of something. You follow what I'm saying? So that desktop that you may use, you know, can help with, I guess, your day-to-day activities as well. But for example, when I set my husband's our monthly calendar event, I can go into my calendar and I can set that event to happen monthly on the first Saturday of the month. I can also color code it. As I said, I use red for the love of my life for that color. And did you know that in Google Calendar, which that's who I use, you can color code. You can set things to be up in color. So I set that to where I don't have to go in and create that event every month for 12 times in my calendar. You set it and you forget it. Do all of your annual events that way. So let's see, holidays or birthdays, anniversaries, all the different things that you do on an annual basis, go ahead and set it and then have it to do a reminder or to repeat annually. Then you can go in and also set up a reminder. If you want it to remind you in a week prior to, 30 days prior to, 2 weeks, an hour, it doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is our digital world is like our own personal free secretary. Well, it's free for now. We never know when that can change, right? But it's free for now. So I use it to the full extent. Okay, so you take each area that you want to break down. So if you have girls in the family and you want to do a girls family event with just the girls in your family, or with the guys in your family, or as a whole family, go ahead and pick some of those dates out. Because if you don't pick the dates out, the dates will become filled with something else that may not be a priority for you, but it can just be a busy activity for you. So when you have things that you've planned, it kind of helps you to automatically slow down, simply because you have to think, well, do I already have something planned for that day? Is that a day that I'm already obligated to my family or another event? It'll force you to not be so quick to jump on things, okay? And that's a good thing, because if you're anything like me, I was trying to do so many things and wanted to be a part of so many different things at one time and spreading myself thin and trying to be here, trying to be there. And it was that, when I tell you that octopus was really huge in my life. That octopus was huge, just a whirl of activity and just having no direction, just losing all sense of control, okay? So you're going to use it. Now, the thing about Google that I love the most too is that you can, like I said, program everything. But you know how I got familiar with that? When I pulled it up, I just started playing with it. And we know when it comes to technology, when we get our phones, when we get new gadgets, the best way that we learn is going in there, playing with it, pulling things up. You can hit the settings button in Google also and go down to your notifications, and you can click on it to send you a morning agenda every day. So it's like the first thing in my email in the morning is what my agenda is for the day, and it's based on the calendar that I've been creating all along the way. And so it's like I don't have to remind it to send it to me. I don't have to program it but that one time, and bam, it's there. Okay? And that makes a huge difference, guys. It can help you to get grounded for your day, know what activities that you have coming up, know the kind of things that you're wanting to do or change, which we'll get into some of that later as well. But that agenda is huge. Now, once you develop the habit of scheduling your priorities, then it's going to become easier to do so. Now I'm going to show you a glimpse of mine so that you can also begin to incorporate this. So you still have to continue working on your annual calendar. And the beautiful thing about that is don't throw it away. When you do that annual calendar, still keep it, because you're going to compare it at the end of the following year. And you'll notice how some of your colors may begin to change because of life events, changes in your own personal life, and other things that you may do may begin to change. And it's just a good foundation to have. You know, another thing that is good is journaling. I didn't realize the value of journaling until probably maybe a year or so ago. And sometimes you can look back and just pick pages and read it and like remember it like it was yesterday. But when we're living our day-to-day lives, you know how sometimes somebody said, well, what did you do over the weekend? And it's like, what did I do? It's like you have like no clue. It's like you really have to think about it. But if you start journaling your life and things that you learned that day or what stood out to you that day, when you look back, you can look back and be like, wow, I remember that. And that's just another little side note that I wanted to put in there. But to show you my calendar, give you a glimpse here. I have, like I said, I use Google, and it is color coded. Let me see if I can angle this correctly. And as you can see, there's a lot of things on here. If I scroll up or down, let me see if I could do it right. Okay, so if I scroll up, you can see the bottom part of the calendar. And if I go back up, you can see the morning part of the calendar. Now that looks like a lot of stuff, right? Well, don't we have a lot of stuff that goes on in life? Absolutely. But I can still take that annual color-coded calendar, turn around and look at my weekly color-coded calendar here. And of course, I can change my settings to look at it daily and all of that. And you see the little gaps that I have in there. That lets me know where I have a time slot for something. And mine is set in 30-minute increments. And I do that for a reason. And I'm going to get into that when we do our daily part of our calendar coming up on our next event. So the color coding is very helpful. And you break it down to your monthly and you put the things on the calendar. So just as we're doing it for the family, then do it to your extended family. Okay, so now let's get into family reunions. Let's get into just family gatherings, whatever the case may be. If you're the one that takes the lead in those kind of things, or maybe you're the one that's going to decide to take the lead, you have the advantage because you can go ahead and pick a date because you're planning your calendar on an annual basis. You can say, okay, hey, I think, let's see, June 17th, I want to have a family gathering. Whether you're doing it at home, whether you're going to the park, whatever the case may be, but go ahead and put it down. Send out an invitation to the family or notification to the family and let it be. Let it be. And we'll get into the things that we can use to, there's a system that I use when it comes to changing things or changing dates or moving things around, because keep in mind, this is not going to be concrete. This is a guide, a foundation to help us in moving forward. It's not going to be a concrete, you know, this is just going to be rigid. I mean, how stressful would that be? You know, so we got to have some flexibility in there. But did you also know that some flexibility can be planned a little bit? You know, that's that same concept that I talked about with making sure you have your own downtime for yourself. That's important so that your mind is not always racing and trying to figure out the next thing and the next step, and you're not constantly having conversations with yourself about when am I going to get a break? I'm about to burn out. I just don't see an end. You have to create that for yourself. And one thing about it, no one else is going to care like you do. This is your body. This is your life. This is your story. This is your calendar. Okay. And as you begin to work it on a day-to-day basis, um, breaking it down so that you can build yourself up to do the things that are important to you, you will begin to appreciate and enjoy your calendar even more. Okay. So we'll continue with the assignment. So we're still working on that annual calendar. It can be a little time consuming. I know we've been doing that for 2 weeks. And then we're going to move over to the digital. If you don't use Google, try it. It's very user friendly in my opinion. And, you know, it ties into my cell phone, into my iPad, to the computer. So it all syncs within itself, which is great. And you can plan and play with that. And if you like, as we go on with other things, I can give a little bit more on that as we go on. If you like, we can do that as well. And we're going to continue on with using for your spirituality. So your spirituality, do you go to your worship service twice a week, once a week? Go ahead and put that time frame in. Go ahead and go in your settings to repeat it, because you can repeat weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, on a certain day of the month. You'll be surprised at all the options that it'll give you to do those things, okay? It is very, very user friendly. And then pick your color for it. So like I said, my spirituality is in gold. So everything on my calendar that's gold or my digital calendar is also in gold, and it's in gold on my annual calendar. So they still will sync. And then when I'm looking at my calendar, I can see my gold, I can see my purple, I can see my blue, I can see my green. I can see it on a weekly basis, okay? And making adjustments is very easy. You know, we can make adjustments with no problem on a calendar, and then it'll automatically update all other things. And send your invites through your calendar. I don't know if you know that you can do that as well. And if something were to change, you can have it to automatically notify people of the change. I mean, it's just so much. You know, I'm learning more and more about using the computer and the different things out here as far as technology goes, because, I mean, it's hard to keep up. And I call myself trying to keep up, but it sometimes kind of scares me a little bit. I'm like, man, every time I'm learning something, there's something else to learn. But anyway, so we're going to continue with that. And next week, we are going to focus on the daily routine and how it is a very strong key. On annual down to monthly, weekly and daily is going to fall in there together, and that's what we're going to talk about too next week, because there are some things that we have to do on a daily basis in order for all of this to work, okay? Because there is no standing still. Remember, we're always moving. It's a matter of, are we moving in the right direction or the wrong direction? Are we moving towards our goals or someone else's goals? So do your calendar, add in all of the other aspects as far as your family, your finances, your health. You know, if you go to the gym, how many days a week do you do that? What color you're going to give that? And these things are going to still show up monthly, and we're going to break it down weekly and daily on the next one. Now, if you have not had a chance yet to, our next event is going to be on December 30th, but this is going to be at 10 a.m. because I know that's towards the end of the year. I want to give people time to do some of the other things. I want to get this out the way early. Don't know what other plans people have. So it's going to be December 30th at 10 a.m. And I'm going to focus on what I just mentioned. And if you haven't gotten your book yet, go ahead to ordermybook.eventbrite.com and purchase your ticket for your autographed copy, okay? Because I would love to send that to you and get that out so that you'll be ready, because we're going to continue some things on in January. It's going to be coming straight from the book. So I am excited. Thank you all so much for your time, and I see you. Till next time, take care, guys. Thank you.